You can expect this question in the upcoming NEET examination. See that 1B group elements we call it as what? Typical transition elements, and this is also we call it as coinage group. Why? Because all this copper, silver, gold we are using to make coins. So these elements copper, silver, gold. So in this they may ask you melting point. Usually as per the melting point order in the group, when you go down, what happens? The melting points increases. So as per the regular trend, copper should have least and gold should have highest. But remember one point, exceptionally copper having highest than others. Okay, so what is the order of melting points? The melting point order of coinage metals is silver will be the least, gold will be the highest, and copper is having the highest. Copper is exceptionally heavy, so instead of becoming a weak, it will be strong. So just bring this to here. So order silver less than gold less than copper. So this is about the melting point. This is very important. Next, move to the next property, that is what? Ionization enthalpies. Ionization enthalpy. So in coming to the ionization enthalpy, as we know, in any series, when you go from left to right, what happens? The ionization energy increases. So as per the regular trend, it increases from left to right in any series. Okay, but here IE1, IE2, IE3, here also IE increases, but they won't follow the regular trend. Especially IE1, okay, there was an irregular order. Irregular changes in their IE1 value. That is why no need to go through this IE1. No need, no problem. Okay, you just leave them. They won't ask you the questions related to the IE1. They will ask you the questions related to IE2 and IE3. IE2. So what is IE2? IE2 is nothing but suppose M plus ions. So by using IE2, so you are becoming what? M plus 2 ion. And that energy is called what? Second ionization energy. Yes, in this case, in case of IE2, see the configurations of, suppose if you take the 3D series of elements, 3D configurations, manganese is what's the configuration? Manganese is S2D5, chromium is S1D5. So S1, for example, if you remove one electron from this chromium, S1 removed. First you should remove the valence shell. What is the valence shell? S subshell is the valence shell. You should remove the electron from S, thereafter should go to D. So one electron removed. So D5 configuration is most. So chromium should have highest. Coming to the manganese. You remove one electron. So S1 D5. Okay. And after that, tell me, if you remove that, the second electron is getting stable D5 configuration. That is why manganese are always willing to release the second electron. That is why manganese is having exceptionally having second ionization energy, a lesser second ionization energy than the others. Okay. Similarly, in case of copper also. Okay. Sorry, in case of zinc also. So what is the configuration of zinc? That is what? S2D10. S2D10. If you remove one electron, it becomes S1D10. So, but if you remove one more electron, it's getting stable D10 configuration. So that is why. So what are the two elements having least IE2 values than the regular? That is what? Manganese and zinc. So the order will be, see that how I am writing, scandium plus lesser than titanium plus lesser than vanadium plus lesser than chromium plus greater than Mn plus. See that chromium and manganese, among the chromium and manganese, which is having highest? Chromium, definitely. Why? Because manganese is having the least. That is why manganese. And thereafter lesser than iron, lesser than cobalt, nickel, copper, and greater than Zn plus. So here 2 points you should remember, manganese and zinc. These two elements are having the lesser second ionization energy than their neighbors. Okay. Next move to the third ionization energy. third ionization energies. So in case of third ionization energy, if you remove two electrons, just see here, iron you take S2d6. Okay, you remove two electrons, these two electrons. Remaining is what? D6, na? Remaining is D6. If you remove one more electron, means IE3 value for iron is least. Why? Because if you remove third electron, is getting d5 configuration. So that is why iron having exceptionally least ionization, third ionization energy than the neighbors. So here IE3 values will be Sp plus 2 is lesser than titanium plus 2, lesser than vanadium plus 2, lesser than chromium plus 2, lesser than Mn plus 2, greater than iron plus 2, and lesser than cobalt plus 2, nickel plus 2, copper plus 2, Zn plus 2. So in case of IE3 only, iron is having the lesser, whereas in case of IE2, Mn plus and as well as Zn plus, they both are having the lesser second ionization enthalpies. I think this data is enough to discuss about the second ionization energies. Okay, next move on to the next important property, that is what? Electrode potentials. Electrode potentials. So in this case, usually as per the IUPAC, SRP values, standard reduction potential values, we consider as what? E0 values. Okay, E0 values are SRP values we are considering as what? E0 values. Okay, now here we are comparing the two. One is standard electrode potentials of M plus 2 to metal. Okay, M plus 2 ions to metals, and as well as E0 values of M plus 3 to M plus 2, plus 3 ions to plus 2 ions. Okay, these two SRP values we are going to compare. First, coming to the M plus 2 to M ions electrode potential values, whatever it may be, either it is this one or this one, whatever it may be. If E0 value is positive, if E0 value is positive, that is spontaneous. We know that. If E0 value is negative, that is what? Non-spontaneous. That reduction will not take place. That we know that. For example, you take all the 3D series of elements. Now I am going to compare the 3D series of elements. In 3D series of elements, almost all elements are having the negative SRP values. M plus 2 to M data I am comparing. If you possible, you just keep your NCERT book in front of you and compare the data. Okay, in the data, when you check the M plus 2 to M E0 values, all the metal ions to metal are having E0 values are negative except one. That is what? Only one, that is E0 value of Cu plus 2 Cu. Okay, Cu plus 2 to Cu is plus 0.34. Plus 0.3 means this reaction is feasible, spontaneous. Means copper ions are readily converted into copper, but copper will not readily convert into copper ions. Copper ions are deposited as copper. Okay, so Cu plus 2 to Cu is spontaneous, but Cu to Cu plus 2 is non-spontaneous. So from this data we can say that copper is less reactive than hydrogen. That is why copper was there in the electrochemical series under the hydrogen. Copper is lesser reactive. Why? Because hydrogen electrode potential is what? Not 0. Whereas here 0.34. Okay, so this is more spontaneous compared to the hydrogen. That is why, because of that, copper is conversion of Cu to Cu plus is non-spontaneous. That is why copper is less reactive than hydrogen. Simple logic. So because of that, if it is less reactive than hydrogen, is this copper can react with the HCl? No. Why? Copper cannot displace the hydrogen ions, but hydrogen ions can displace copper. So this reaction is not possible. Then copper, when we add dissolve the copper in HNO3, then why the copper is dissolving in it and they forms copper nitrates now? Okay, this reaction is non-spontaneous, but here this is a spontaneous. This reaction is taking place. What is the reason? Here remember that copper is undergoing oxidation not because of hydrogen. This is because of nitrate. Here copper is undergoing oxidation, no doubt. Copper is undergoing oxidation. This oxidation is not by the hydrogen. This is by the nitrate ion. This nitrate ankle will go and oxidize the copper. Okay, so this is a very, very important reaction. Okay, this is the assertion reasoning type of question they may ask you from this. Okay, this is about the E naught values of metal ion M plus 2 ions to M. Okay, now let us move to the E naught values of M plus 3 to M plus 2. So in case of M plus 3 to M plus 2, when you compare the all 3D elements, when they compare the data of the 3D series of elements, only 3 metal ions are having positive E naught values. What are those? Those are manganese plus 3 to Mn plus 2 and Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2 and cobalt plus 3 to cobalt plus 2. Okay, and this is 0.77, this is 1.57 and this is 1.97. Okay, so this is a volts. So which is having the highest? These are the positive values. These 3 are only having the positive values. Rest of the remaining 7 metal ions are having negative values. They are non-spontaneous. Okay, these 3 are only having positive, spontaneous. Now coming to this. In this case, if they are positive means, from this what we confirm? Write the conclusion from these E naught values. This is a spontaneous means what? What do you mean by the E naught value positive means? Mn plus 3 can easily convert it into Mn plus 2. That means Mn plus 2 is more stable. So plus 2 is stable than plus 3. That is the conclusion from it. Here also same. Plus 3 to becomes plus 2 easily. That means which is stable here? Plus 2 is stable than plus 3. So here also plus 2 is stable than plus 3. This is the conclusion from it. Okay, now coming to here. So when you arrange them, cobalt plus 3 to cobalt plus 2, why? Because this is 1.9, so this is the highest positive value. Greater than Mn plus 3 to Mn plus 2, greater than Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2. So because of their higher, this is 1.97, this is 1.57 and this is 0.77. Because of their higher positive values, okay, they can readily convert it into, means the CO plus 3 is happily converted into CO plus 2. Means undergoing reduction. If the species which is undergoing reduction readily, what we call oxidizing agents. So that is why CO plus 3 and Mn plus 3. CO plus 3 and Mn plus 3, they both are acting as strong oxidizing agents. Okay, so CO plus 3 and Mn plus 3, they are happily converted into plus 2 ions. Okay, that is why they are acting as strong oxidizing agent. Then what about the ferric ions? Of course, they can also readily converted into ferrous ions, but its E naught value is less compared to other two. Because of lesser one, instead of acting as an oxidizing agent, this is acting as what? Catalyst. Fe plus 3 ion is acting as catalyst. Okay, catalyst where? There is a best example for this catalytic action of ferric ions. What is that? I minus versus Marshall ankle, that is S2O8 minus 2 disulfide ion. Okay, this is what we call the Marshall ions. S2O8, that is what Marshall acid, peroxide disulfuric acid. So the anion of Marshall acid is Marshall anion. Okay, and one more thing, this Marshall anion is a very good oxidizing agent. It can oxidize any other. This is the strongest oxidizing agent. Even it can oxidize the Mn plus 2 ions. Mn plus 2 also into MnO4 minus. Okay, so this is a very strong oxidizing agent. So the point of time when we add I minus to S2O8 minus 2, we will use Fe plus 3 ion as a catalyst. Okay, so that iodide ion will oxidize to I2 and S2O8 converted into what? SO4 minus. Then what is the role of Fe+3 here? Catalyst. How it is acting as a catalyst? Let us see. If you see the mechanism of this, then you feel very easy about it. See that I minus, there was a small story behind this. So one day iodide ion is feeling guilty because of its negative charge. He wanted to what? Oxidize immediately. Okay, immediately he wanted to become I2. So to become I2, what happened? S2O8 is a very good oxidizing agent. So if I go to S2O8, definitely it will help me. So that it was decided and it went to what? Marshall uncle. And he went to Marshall uncle and he asked, he requested, can you please oxidize me into I2? Why? Because I don't want to become as a negative. But S2O8 is a very good or strong oxidizing agent, but it's a lazy fellow. Okay, what happened? No, now I am in a rest. So I don't want to oxidize anymore. So you come in the evening. So that it refused to oxidize I minus to I2. So what happened? So I minus feel guilty. Why? Because this is a strong oxidizing agent. Even that strong oxidizing agent also not oxidizing me into I2. So then who will help him? Like that he is feeling very guilty and he decided to go and make a suicide. Okay, so but what happened? This I minus, when it is jumping in from the wall, okay, what happened? The ferric ions saw that. Ferric ions go to I minus and ask, what happened? Why you are going to suicide? So that he explained everything. So I minus, I don't want to become as an I minus. I wanted to become I2. But S2O8 strongly refused to me oxidize into I2. So he told everything to the ferric. So ferric ion okay decided. Okay, no problem. I have a large positive charge. So I will oxidize. So you give me your negative charge to me. So I can bear that negative charge. No problem. Like that it helps I minus to oxidize into I2. So now what happened? It gains one negative charge, na? So Fe+3 becomes what? Fe+2. Okay. Now what happened? Okay, I minus happily oxidizes to I2. It went. After that, immediately Fe+2 go to S2O8, and he asked that you are a strong person in our family, in oxidizing family, you are the strongest one. So you people are not oxidizing the people like I minus. Then what is the use of you? Like that he asked. So because of that, S2O8 again thought about it. Think about it. Okay, I did a mistake. I wanted to rectify my mistake. So that okay, then what should I do? What can I do? How can I help you do? It's like that he asked Ferrous. Okay, I gave one of my positive charge to I minus. Now you take back my positive. Give back my positive charge. So that it was asked. So that immediately S2O8. What happened? S2O8 converts ferrous to ferric again. So that S2O8 converted into SO4 minus. Clear? So now what happened? S2O8 is not directly oxidizing I minus to I2. Okay, I minus is converting into I2 in the presence of ferric ions only. If there was no ferric ion, there was no oxidation. Understood? So like this, ferric ions is a participating, but as like how it is a participating in the same way it is coming out. That means ferric ions here acting as what? Catalyst. So this is a beautiful explanation to explain the catalytic behavior of ferric ions. Okay, so this is about the electrode potential values of M+3 to M+2. Next, move on, and one more thing you should know about it in case of M+3 to +2. Okay, vanadium +3 to vanadium +2. When you check this value, E naught value, this is minus 2.5 something value, minus 2.15, minus 2. Actually, is this +3 to +2 is a spontaneous? No chance. Why? Because it's a negative. It's a non-spontaneous only. So as for the non-spontaneity, what happened? Its actual value, expected value should be around the minus 4.0, minus 4.2 like that. But unfortunately, this E naught value is a little bit higher than their expected value. Okay, what is the reason? Because see, don't think that it's a spontaneous value. It's a non-spontaneous one, it's a negative value only, but it is a little bit larger than expected value. Okay, what is the reason here? When you compare V+3 and V+2 ions, V plus 3 configuration is what? Scandium titanium 23, so St(d3). So remove 3 electrons, it becomes D2 configuration. So it is having D2 configuration. And whereas V plus 2 having D3 configuration. D3 configuration means T2G stable configuration. D3 configuration is stable. How can you say, sir? In a crystal field effect, we know that all 5 d orbitals are splitting into T2G, 2 sets, T2G set and EG set. In T2G set 3 orbitals are there, in EG set 2 sets of orbitals are there. So in the 3 sets of, in the T2G 3 orbitals are there and each orbital having single electron, that means this is what? Half filled. So D3 configuration is a stable configuration here. So that is why V plus 2 is somewhat little bit stable than earlier. What about D2? There was no stable, but as per the hydration enthalpy is greater for V plus 3 than V plus 2, no doubt. Why? Because hydration enthalpy is directly proportional to magnitude of charge, no doubt. Hydration enthalpy is greater for V plus 3 than V plus 2, but because of having stable D3 configuration, the expected value, the actual value, E0 value of vanadium plus 2 is a little bit greater than expected value. Okay, so that is why V plus 3 and V plus 2. Now the question is, what is there was a hint, no? There was a tip, simply say that. Then, in which ions are having this D3 configuration? How can we know here? Yes, this out of these all 3D series of elements, D-block is a vast explanations. We cannot remember all this, so we should remember this information in a small tips form, okay, hints form. See that out of all 3D series of elements, only 2 ions. What are those? Vanadium plus 2, and chromium plus 3. These 2 are stable due to D3 configuration. Okay, vanadium plus 2 and chromium plus 3. These 2 ions are stable due to D3 configuration. For example, you take the chromium here. Chromium plus 2 state is there. Now tell me, chromium plus 2, to which form it will be tries to be? It tries to become Cr plus or Cr plus 3r. What is the configuration of Cr plus 2? Cr plus 2 means it will be what? Chromium is a 1,5. Okay, S1 D5, but 2 electron D4 configuration this is. If it converts into Cr plus, tell me it becomes what? D5. If it becomes to Cr plus 3, it becomes D3. So if it goes to left side, half filled stable configuration. If it goes to right side, D3 stable configuration. Now tell me to which side it will go? Chromium plus 2. So no doubt where it will go. It will definitely, as per our previous knowledge, it should go to left side. But if it goes to left side, only one factor is favorable. What is that? Stable half filled configuration. But if we go to right side, 2 factors are favorable. What are those? One is hydration enthalpy. Why? Because plus 1 and plus 3, which is having higher hydration enthalpy, definitely plus 3. So one favorable factor is hydration enthalpy. Second favorable factor is what? D3 stable configuration. So 2 factors are favorable. So definitely chromium plus 2 act as oxidizing agent or reducing agent. Chromium plus 2 happily converts into chromium plus 3, means happily undergo oxidation. That means it is acting as reducing agent. Chromium plus 2 act as what? Reducing agent. Okay, so this is about electrode potential values. Okay, move on to the oxidation states of this. Oxidation states. If you see the oxidation states, generally the D block elements, they shows variable oxidation states. The D block elements shows variable oxidation states. Variable means many oxidation states. So if you see, how can you say variable oxidation state, minimum oxidation states and the maximum oxidation state and a common oxidation states. So always remember that the highest oxidation state shown by a metal is equal to, we know a formula, that is by following this we can easily identify the maximum highest oxidation state, that is number of ns electrons plus n minus 1 d unpaired electrons. Okay, by following this we can easily calculate the highest oxidation state. Total number of electrons present in ns subshell plus penultimate unpaired electrons only we need to consider. By following this we can easily calculate simply by, let us see, scandium. If you say scandium, what is the highest oxidation state the scandium can show? What is the configuration? Write the configuration for this. This is what? S21, S2D1, 3D1, 4S2. So what is the ns electrons? 2, and ns1 d unpaired electrons 1. So total 2 plus 1, that is 3. Scandium, in fact scandium can show only 3 oxidation state. Next, if you take titanium, so what is the highest oxidation state can show? That is S2D2. S2D2 means 2 valence electrons and unpaired electrons here 2, that is equal to 4. You take manganese, what is the configuration? Chromium you write, chromium, S1D5, so that is equal to S1, 1 plus 5, that is equal to 6. Manganese, if you take manganese, S2D5, so 2 plus 5, that is equal to 7. So manganese can show maximum 7 oxidation state. Cobalt, if you take cobalt you take S2D7, so what is that? 2, and how many unpaired electrons? 7 configuration. D7 means only 3 unpaired electrons are there. So 2 plus 3, that is equal to 5. Zinc, if you take S2D10, so 2 electrons and S electrons, and D10 means no unpaired electrons. So 2 plus 0 is equal to 2. So in fact, unfortunately, scandium can show only 1 oxidation state, that is a plus 3, and a zinc can show only plus 2 oxidation state. So if you see all this, one point you should remember, the common oxidation state of all d block elements is plus 2. Plus 2 is a common oxidation state, but higher oxidation states will change according to this formula. Okay, so this is about the common oxidation state. And one more thing you should remember, the stability of higher oxidation state. The stability of high oxidation state will decrease down the group. Stability of higher oxidation state will decrease down the group. Increase down the group. Stability by going down. Okay, what happens? The stability of higher oxidation state will increase. For example, you take chromium group. So in chromium, if you take 6th D group, chromium, molybdenum, tungsten, these 3 elements. When you write this, Cr2O7 minus 2, MoO3 and WO3. Now tell me, what happens? All they are what? Plus 6 oxidation state. Now tell me, which is more stable? Definitely increases. No? Stability of the plus 6 oxidation state will increases. That means which is the least stable here? Dichromate is the least stable. Plus 6 oxidation state of dichromate is the least stable. Why? Because this is at the top of this group. So least stable. So this is less stable. Okay, if higher oxidation state of a metal ion is lesser stable, then what it will do? It immediately will try to gain the electrons. Right? They are less stable in higher oxidation state. They gains electron. Then what we call reduction. The species which is undergoing reduction, what we call oxidizing agent. That is why dichromate is acting as oxidizing agent. Okay, dichromate is acting as oxidizing agent because of this reason. Okay, next one. If you take higher oxidation state elements. For example, whenever a metal ion is in a higher oxidation state, that higher oxidation state metal ion is stabilized by fluorides. They are happy with fluorides. Higher oxidation state metal ions are happy with fluorides and feeling sad with iodides. That means simply from this what we can say, higher, whenever a metal ion is in a higher oxidation state, that high oxidation state metal ions are stabilized by fluorides, not by iodides. Okay, next one, less oxidation states, low oxidation state. If you see, reverse, that means they are unhappy with fluorides but happy with iodides. Whenever a metal ion is in a lower oxidation state, it will be stabilized by iodides, not by fluorides. Okay, and one more thing you should, if you take, if the metal ion is in a very high oxidation state, this high oxidation state metal ions are greater stabilized by oxides compared to the fluorides. Okay, are greater stabilized by oxygen than fluorine. Best example, how can we say this statement here? See, let us see. You take manganese Mn2O7. Suppose fluorides of manganese can form only tetrafluorides. What we can say that Mn2O7, manganese is in +7 oxidation state, here +4 oxidation state. So whenever a metal ion is in a very high oxidation state, it was a greater stabilized by oxygen than fluorine. So when the metal ion is in a highest oxidation state, it is forming the compound with the oxygen, not by the fluorine. The fluorines can form maximum +4 oxidation state. So this is about the oxidation states of D block elements. Okay, next let us move to the magnetic behavior. If you see the magnetic behavior, as we know, based upon the magnetic nature, the substances we are dividing into three types. One is paramagnetic, diamagnetic, ferromagnetic. Remaining ferri, anti-ferro, so many types are there. Mainly para, dia, ferro. Okay, now paramagnetic substances are nothing. I am not going in detail about them. Paramagnetic substances are nothing but the substances which are attracted by the external magnetic field, called paramagnetic. And these generally they shows a paramagnetic nature because of presence of unpaired electrons in them. And in this paramagnetic behavior, the magnetic susceptibility, means magnetic field strength of these substances, B value is greater than external magnetic strength. B greater than H. Then we call them as paramagnetic substances. Diamagnetic substances means the substances which repelled by the external magnetic field, called diamagnetic substances. And there generally the species having no unpaired electrons. Having no unpaired electrons means all the electrons have been paired up. Then those species generally act as a diamagnetic. In this case, the field strength of this magnetic field strength of these substances is lesser than external magnetic field strength. Okay, B is lesser than H. Whereas ferromagnetic substances, these are the special type of paramagnetic substances only. They are having large number of unpaired electrons. Because of having the large number of unpaired electrons, they are strongly attracted by the external magnetic field. Those substances called ferromagnetic substances. Best example in this case, B value is very higher than H value. Okay, because of large number of unpaired electrons in different spins, they have high magnetic field strength. Okay, so in this case, best example for ferro, iron, cobalt, nickel. These are the best three examples for ferromagnetic substances. Okay, next move on to the next one. In this magnetic behavior, this is not the important thing here. This is general basic idea. Now coming to the point. In magnetic behavior, the paramagnetism of parametric substances depends on two factors, depends on two values. That is, one is electronic spin value, electronic spin, and also orbital angular momentum. Okay, the parametricism depends on both electronic spin value and also orbital angular momentum value. So electronic spin value we represent with what? S, capital S, and orbital angular momentum L. So that we can say that, based upon that, mu of S plus L, total magnetic momentum, mu of S plus L, spin momentum and orbital momentum. S plus means spin and orbital, is equal to, we have a formula, that is the square root of 4s into s plus 1 plus L into L plus 1. By using this formula, we can calculate. So this is in Bohr magnetons. Usually magnetic momentum we express in Bohr magnetons. So by using this formula, we can calculate total magnetic momentum. But what is the S? This is what total spin of them. So S, capital S, S is equal to N into plus or minus 1 by 2. So what do you mean? Here N is nothing but what? Number of unpaired electrons. Number of unpaired electrons. Generally they are having plus 1 by 2. That is why N into plus 1 by 2. By using this formula, you can calculate S value. Just substitute there, and L value is orbital angular momentum. By substituting them, you can calculate. Okay, and here we expressed in Bohr magnetons. So one Bohr magneton is equal to 9.27 into 10 power minus 24 joule per Tesla. Joule per Tesla. So this is what Bohr magneton value. Now move on to the next one. In case of 3D series of elements, L value is very less, so that it is not significant. We are not considering it. Only for 3D. Only for 3D series of elements, L value was insignificant. If you eliminate the L value, then what is the formula? Mu S is equal to square root of 4s into s plus 1. By using this formula, we can calculate. This is what we call it as calculated. But experimentally, when we calculate this magnetic momentum, there was a difference. That is, mu experimental value, experimentally determined value, is greater than mu calculated value for few elements. What are the elements? Then what do you say that for 3D elements L value was neglected? Na? Then why this difference? Why? Because for higher members of the 3D series, L value should not be neglected. You need to consider. Because of neglecting the L value, even in case of higher metal ions also. Okay, what happened? This difference is coming. What are those? Iron, cobalt, nickel, copper. For these metal ions, what happened? Experimental mu value is greater than a calculated mu value. Okay, so this is about the mu. If you know the unpaired electrons directly, we have a direct formula. Mu is equal to square root of n into n plus 2. Even by using this formula also we can calculate. By following any one of them, we can calculate. Okay, and one more thing. This is for 3D only. For 4D, 5D, then definitely we should include this L value and we should calculate. Okay, so this is about magnetic behavior. Okay, next one. And most of the D black elements are paramagnetic. Most of them. Okay. Next, move to the next property, that is what? Color. Color of these aqueous solutions. Usually, most of these D black solutions are colored solutions. Color. And this colored solutions. And this color is because of what reasons? So the color of the D black solutions is because of two reasons mainly. One is mainly because of DD transitions. Which transitions? DD transitions. And the second one, that is what? Charge transfer phenomena. Charge transfer phenomena. Because of these two reasons, the D black aqueous solutions are colored. What is DD transitions here? So this is based upon crystal field theory. If you take Ag plus, it's a colorless. I minus is alone colorless, but AgI is yellow color. First two individually when you have taken, they both are colorless, but AgI is a yellow color. What is the reason? Why? Because in presence of ligand I minus, what happened? In silver, the D blocks will split into two sets. So the 5 D orbitals are splitting into what? First they will come into excited state. After that they split into two sets, T2G set and EG set. Thereafter, because of electrons excitation and de-excitation, the color of the solution will appear. And based upon the energy that they liberate during this de-excitation, they remove energy, and based upon the frequency of that energy, the amount of energy they are liberating or absorbing while they are exciting or de-excitation, the color of the solution will change. So this is one d orbital, this is another d orbital. So these transitions we call it as what? dd transitions. So main is dd transition, but in case of few, why? Because the species which are having if the suppose if the d subshell having, if the d subshell is empty or else fully filled, they most of these cases colorless, they are colorless. What are the two cases in which the metal ions are colorless? Either empty completely or else what is that? Fully filled. Empty or fully filled. Okay, but in some cases, okay, they may be colored because of charge transfer phenomenon. What is charge transfer phenomenon? Best example, this is KMnO4 and K2Cr2O7. If you take the KMnO4, what is the oxidation state here? Manganese is in +7 oxidation state. +7 means, is there any d electrons here? 0. So if the d orbital having empty, if the d orbital having empty or fully filled, they should be colorless, na? So as per this logic, it should be colorless, na? But KMnO4, what is the color of KMnO4? So purple color. How it is be? How the purple color? Because of charge transfer phenomenon. What is charge transfer phenomenon? It's nothing but some charge is transferring from oxygen to manganese. Okay, some number of electrons, some charge have been transferred to oxygen to manganese. With this, manganese is having some electrons, 1 or 2 electrons. Because of the presence of electrons, excitations, de-excitations, they exhibit the color to the solutions. Okay, that phenomenon we call it as what? Charge transfer phenomenon. Clear? So main reasons behind that color is either DD or charge transfer phenomenon. Clear? Now move to the colors. How to remember the color? This is only the main part. This is only the just reason. Now the colors. How to remember the colors of the ions? Most of you people are feeling difficulty to remember the colors. Just a small logic here. Just by following this hint, you can definitely will remember all the colors. Now, vanadium. So he is very joyful person. He wants to attend always parties, pubs. He wanted to entertain himself. Okay, so he decided to go to some party. Okay, what is that? Actually, to do he has only $8. Okay, he has only $8. By using this $8, okay, for doing one party, they need $8. Okay, now what happened? One day he gathered the persons and do blue party. The name of this party is blue party. Okay. Now in this, so violet this vanadium is always favored to do parties. That is why what happened because of his excitement, he spent more amount in that party. Out of $8 of the party, half of the amount he only paid. Okay, so vanadium paid how much? Half. That means vanadium plus 4. Vanadium plus 4. Remaining, along with the vanadium, chromium, copper also came. Chromium and copper. So out of $8 or $4 are paid by vanadium, what is the remaining? $4. They both are shared. That is plus 2 and plus total $8. Like this, they enjoyed a lot. Okay, so in this, he was realized after the finishing the party. What he realized? No, the total amount is $8. Out of $8, I only spend half of the amount. These people are doing fault on me. Like this, he was jealous. Next day, what happened? Next time, what happened? He is planning to make one more party. That is what? Violet party. Okay, but this time what happened? He was played a trick. No, last time I paid half of the amount, higher amount. This time I wanted to pay very lesser amount. Like this, he mentally prepared. So out of $8, what happened? The vanadium paid only $2. Okay, remaining. Now this time, along with vanadium, last time chromium came, na? So last time he paid less amount. So this time what happened? Chromium came his friend, that is manganese. Chromium and manganese both are friends. Why? Because dichromate and permanganate both are oxidizing agents. Na? Wherever the chromium, along with the chromium, manganese will be there. So chromium and manganese very close friends. So last time he was benefited. So this time what he think? Okay, last time I was benefited. So when we go along with vanadium, no need to pay much. He will only will higher. So by paying very lesser amount, we can enjoy. Like that he think. So he came along with his friend manganese. But because of vanadium, now I know what happened. Vanadium paid very less. So what is the remaining amount? 6. So now 3 they share. Unfortunately, so they felt, vanadium is doing mistakes. Last time he paid much, but this time very less amount paid. So we don't want to go along with the vanadium for no more parties. Like that they thought. So they was frustrated. So they decided we should not go along with vanadium anymore. And he spread the news to all. Okay, so no one is willing to go along with vanadium. So vanadium felt a lot. No, yeah. Every time we are doing high bill, and in that bill, because of fault calculations, sometimes I paid more, sometimes I paid less. So this time what we do? Let us reduce the bill amount. Instead of $8, this time let us we eat less, we pay less. Like that he decided. So now they are going to spend $7 only. Means they reduce $1. Out of $7. And one more thing, no one is willing. Why? Because they spread news now. No, we don't go to along with vanadium. Why? Because vanadium is doing wrong calculations, like that they spread. So no one is willing to go along with vanadium. This time what happened? Okay, he gave open offer. Anyone can come with me, but out of the whole bill, first let us we share the amount. Suppose if there was $1 or $2 is excess, cannot share by uniformly to others, then that amount I will pay. Like that he shared. So that this time what happened? Two iron, that is what? Iron and nickel. These two are okay. They give green signal to what? Vanadium. So now they are going to which party? Green party. Okay. Now what happened? Total how much? What is the bill of this one? $7. Out of 7, vanadium, iron and nickel. Na? So both first they shared equally. 2. One excess, that excess dollar was paid by vanadium. So vanadium plus 3, iron plus 2, nickel plus 2. All are having which color? Green color. So like that you can easily remember the colors of it. Okay. One thing, vanadium plus 4 is blue, vanadium plus 2 is violet, vanadium plus 3 is a green color. Fe plus 2 is a green, ferrous iron is a green. But Fe plus 3 is what? Yellow, dirty yellow color. Okay, Fe plus 3 ion is what? Yellow color. Fe plus 2 is green color, Fe plus 3 is yellow color. Okay, and we know that cobalt plus 3, cobalt plus 2. Okay, pico means cobalt plus 3 is pink color, whereas cobalt plus 2 is red color. And Mn plus 2 is pink mun, so pink color. Okay, pink mun, pink pico, pink mun, pico. Okay, and this is red color. Next, dirty fellow means fellow. And one more thing, scandium plus 3 is purple color. So all the color of the ions have been covered. So by using this data, just go to the NCERT textbook, almost all the metal ions colors have been covered. Okay, it's not a scandium. Scandium plus 3 is a colorless because of no electrons. This is a titanium. Titanium plus 3 is a purple in color.